This is Robert Decker. You are listening to Everyone Needs a Spotter.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Everyone Needs a Spotter, the multifamily fitness podcast brought to you by the expert team, and I mean oh so expert team here at RMS Fitness. I am your host, Steve Heitzer. I am so happy here today. The sun is shining bright in the sky through this warm window behind me, and I am joined by all three of my podcasting cohorts. We're going to go randomly today by introduction. She's back from a break. Lil Wipey, Emily Vinos.
What up?
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm here, ready to go.
Ready to go?
Where was I last week?
I don't know. I think I said that because you were on a break on the last episode that we
there
posted,
you
not
go.
recorded. So I'm wrong. You were actually here.
Maybe I was. I'm
We'll
trying to
edit that in post.
That doesn't matter.
No, we won't. To my left, Steven, been there, done it all, Adio. How goes it, my brother?
What's going on, man? It's nice. It is gorgeous outside. Finally,
It looks nicer than it is. I mean, it's not. It's nice. It's a little cold. It's the kind of
I'll
weather
take
where
it,
you
though,
go
man.
outside expecting to do something fun and then get smacked by like a stray icicle.
I'll
Not
take
my
it.
weather. But no, man, good to be here with you though. What's wrong? What's wrong, Robert? Robert, to my right.
I'm not sure about the icicle reference, Steve.
It's cold. It's like 40 degrees outside.
It's 60 degrees outside.
Robert Decadio.
Robert, that could be it.
I will not accept nicknames of that.
Boecadio.
Whoa.
Steve, please put us back on pace.
Look, we're here, guys. You know, it's been a long week. It's been a busy week. I know I have been everywhere and done it all. Not to steal Steven's nickname, but I really have been a little bit everywhere this week, and I know everybody else has been too. I know I had the pleasure of traveling to New Jersey to start the week. This week I was up there in Basking Ridge, New Jersey, as Steven hocked the lung up in the microphone. We appreciate you, brother.
You're welcome.
Basking Ridge, New Jersey, and helped a lovely new personal training and athletic training studio opening up there. So shout out to Jen Baird and her husband Dan up there at Infinitive Fitness Club in New Jersey. It was a pleasure to meet you all in person and help you with that facility. And if you follow our socials, you'll see some posts coming soon once the real final pictures are ready after they do the cleaning and dusting. But it was really nice. Different project than the kind of things that we're typically involved in. It wasn't a multifamily project, so it was a different vibe, different kind of feel, and it was a pleasure to be part of that project. So it's been a busy week there in that regard. And then I did go check out a new construction site yesterday that allegedly is about a month away from being done, but I have my suspicions that we will encounter delays, and we'll see. We'll tune back in a couple weeks to see if I'm right or not. But how about you, Em? What you been up to?
Nothing much. Mostly just helping the Deckers, which is Robert to my left. They have recently moved, so I was trying to help out with painting and things like that. So I was staying busy.
I mean, you can pretty much only do the baseboard, right?
Yeah. And then this weekend I have my nephews coming to visit, so that'll be fun.
Ah, cool. That's right. You did mention you had some family coming down. To have some family coming. Did you do any no work field trips this week? No. Wait.
No, the only no. One day we went out. I did go on the road yesterday. That was a little bit of an adventure. We had runaway carts. We had popos called on us. The whole bit.
RMS was riding dirty yesterday, people. Let me tell you. No, well, look, as fearless leader is hanging his head, I'm gonna
Shamefully
go ahead
listening to me.
Anyway, change of subject. Stephen D, what's up, man? How was your week? Anything exciting in Donadio land?
And it was like grinding office week.
I was gonna say you're kind of entering
Yeah.
into a new era here.
Yeah, it's carpal
Taylor.
tunnel in the fingers right now. I've just been, going crazy on the computer and orders and
Carpal tunnel
and
in the fingers.
But busy week. Still trying to catch up.
Yeah,
But
he's up to 20 words a minute now typing, guys. He's getting really fast. No, as we sit here and joke, we're making an allusion to the fact that, Steven's taken over a lot more recently of kind of the ordering, receiving, managing some of the logistics here that are happening at the warehouse. He's kind of taken that under his wing. on top of all the other things that he was already kind of taking over for us. So he's definitely had a busy week in the office getting used to those things. But Fearless Leader, how was your week?
Extremely productive. I just don't remember why, but
That's how you know it was extremely productive. It's just too much to remember.
So to Emily's point, we did have an adventure yesterday. It's nothing like watching Emily run as quickly
As I can.
to chase down a large cart full of cardboard
And other materials.
and other materials. But
You're
she
gonna
was
say,
successful.
I thought you were going to say like dumbbells or kettlebells.
She did.
Thankfully not.
She was successful. She caught it before any damage was done. And then a shout out to the Baltimore City Police Department who did.
In Fells Point.
Yeah, Fells Point area. We were in the height of traffic in the middle of the day, and they were very patient with us. The particular client did not have a loading dock, so we had to struggle with double parked install, and that's always an adventure. You're running in and out, and we had a new employee for his first day out in the field, and he had to field that situation. He did a nice job. Shout out to Tommy.
Go, Tommy.
What's
Yeah.
up, Tommy?
So, but yeah, I think looking at this week and many weeks to come, looking forward to a nice productive summer. Emily mentioned the family has moved, and there's a lot of work to be done around the house now.
Yep. As is often the case when you purchase a new domicile, lots of work follows behind that. And there's lots to be done. But you guys have a lot of help. You got a lot of friends. You got Emily. Emily will come over and help. And
It's a lot of muscle there
It is.
in
It
itself.
is. But she, you know what?
right.
What she lacks in muscle, she makes up for in spirit. She's
What I lack
a go-getter.
in height.
Yeah, you made me call her weak. I didn't even mean that. I meant to call her short.
Let me
You called her
correct
weak.
you
I
guys.
said she's short. You said she's weak. Not my fault. Yours. No, but you know what? On the subject, that was a good point to end that on, Robert, because you mentioned being out on an install this week and having something kind of go wrong out there on the install. Maybe not go wrong, but you had a curveball come at you with the parking situation. And a long times, sometimes curveballs, they come out there in the field. Every install doesn't go perfectly smoothly. But no matter what happens on the install, regardless of the circumstance, whether it's easy or simple, whether it's super complicated or super challenging, there are some things that just need to happen, like after any fitness install, in order for that amenity to really thrive and to see success. A lot of effort and, frankly, money are put into trying to plan these spaces and create these fitness centers and amenities in such a way that they're appealing and can be maintained in a good way. And then if certain things aren't executed on properly, a lot of that hard work can be wasted, and it can kind of be the beginning of other long-term problems that the property will face. So that's obviously something that nobody wants. Does anyone want to face problems? Raise your hand if you want to face problems, guys. Emily, you like facing problems, don't you?
No.
No. So yeah, basically the point here is going to just be to try to highlight a couple of the things that happen, should happen on the heels of any install, just to make sure that things go smoothly. So Stephen, we had a scenario kind of unfold here this week regarding some equipment that was installed and then some things that didn't happen, and it kind of led to some longer term, bigger issues for the client.
Yeah.
You want to kind of highlight that for us? Robert's leaning in. Does he want to highlight that?
Just make sure we understand that we didn't do the install.
Correct. Yeah, I was
Okay.
hoping that Stephen clarified
Okay.
that in
Just
his
making sure.
storytelling.
Yes.
But no, this would be an install that we did not do, but a client that we engaged with this week, and we uncovered some of these things. So it made us realize how important this might be to discuss with our clients. So Stephen, maybe summarize briefly what happened with that client who shall not be named.
Yeah, well, a couple months back, we actually that client called us. They had recently took over the property, and they had asked for us to get so we gave them a quote to come out to do a one-time inspection of all the equipment. And so, we provided the quote the next day, and we haven't heard back. And so, 2 weeks ago, we hear back from them, and it's almost like in rush mode at that point. So we go out. And, come to find out, there's tons of issues at this place. Just tons of issues, and the equipment isn't even that old. It's probably just over a year old. And the unfortunate scenario, what happened was the installers and whoever sold them the equipment never registered it to the property. And so therefore it made the whole process of ordering parts, getting any sort of warranty service, delayed. And what happened was this property was handed over to another property management company, and they have no paperwork. It's almost like all the paperwork just went missing, and so they're going to have trouble registering the equipment. And so, they are unfortunately haven't really dealt with scenarios like this where they don't realize how long things can take. So, yeah, they want their equipment repaired ASAP, but they don't realize, we have to order parts. We're trying to get things covered for them under warranty, and it can take a week or two to get parts and to get service out there. And also, it's not like they're around the corner too. They're far away, and not many service providing companies are out there. And so, that's the call that we got. It was like red hot alert, and we're trying to help them navigate the issues, and because they're getting bombarded by complaints and emails and calls from this community. So we understand the pickle that they're in, but they have to understand, we're not magicians. We're not going to work magic like that. It is going to take some time, but had they done things differently, and I'm sure we'll discuss that later too, things would have been a little bit better for them.
Yeah, and I'm sure that was a great summary, and I'm sure they're getting a lot of complaints because, it's a new property, and the people that move into a new property, maybe Emily, what's probably the expectation? Like if you're someone that goes on a tour of a brand new property and you see a lovely new community and everything's shiny and new, what's your expectation?
Well, I'm expecting. Well, if I'm walking into the gym, I'm expecting everything to be working and it being awesome, and I'm excited. And then, so yeah, there's a big letdown.
Yeah, you're probably paying top dollar.
Yeah.
Right? It's a
Yeah.
new property. You're paying a premium for the
Yeah.
benefit of being in a new facility. Hypothetically, that new facility should be working. So if you're not, the people that are paying that money to have that experience, they're going to let you know about it. And that's, what I would think is completely fair on their part. So now, Stephen and Robert, you all were involved with this client. I'm also guessing that because the equipment was under warranty, they weren't interested in spending a lot of money to repair the equipment, right? They probably would like everything to be covered under the warranty. I'm sure that was probably didn't budget for a lot of replacement money, right?
So I'll answer that. Yeah. So my conversation with the client was they were in such desperate need that they were willing to pay for these repairs. But what they don't realize is that the cost of some of these repairs, it will be astronomical. I mean, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 plus
Wow.
in the amount of equipment. When, if they just kind of educate and let them know, the people there, that yes, it's being handled, give them an honest expectation of when things are going to be repaired, I think things would have been a little bit better for them.
That's tough because that's like the other scenario, right? It's pretty much only one or the other. Either the property has no money because they didn't plan for repairs because with the expectation of the equipment being new, so they don't have any way to deal with that problem. Or in this case, that's also a shame where a property that shouldn't have to spend money on repairs because they are warranted, now they're having to take money that maybe they will need for something else that shouldn't be covered and spend that money on a repair that maybe just should have been already covered and taken care of for them. So that's kind of two scenarios, and neither one is particularly great for the client at all. Robert?
So I'm trying to think of a way of putting a little economy on my words here, because in this podcast, it would certainly be our goal that owners would hear this podcast because it's about the culture of how things function prior to the fitness center even being established. And what Stephen had mentioned is kind of what I heard as well in dealing with the customer, because some of the background on the customer is that we got a call that they were ending their lease with the current facility and they needed new equipment. So I got involved and said, okay, what would what do you need? Got them a quote. They wanted machine for machine replacement. We got the quote out. And I mean, what do you think? A month and a half passed.
Yeah.
There were there was never a mention of any concerns. Then, I guess, to Steven's point, they find out they're not going to be replacing the existing equipment. Now they want to have us come out for service. We go out, we discover it's under warranty. And what happened was, I guess, on the developing side, the equipment was purchased, never registered to the property. So once it's not registered to the property, then what transpires at this point? So no one's seen this equipment for how long did we say?
Probably since the purchase of the equipment. So it's got to be at least a year and a half. No one actually physically looked at it. No tech.
Right. So then you have whoever they partnered with, did what they needed to do on day one. And again, the significance that we're trying to preach is it should go beyond day one. So to your point, regardless of when an owner takes on this, gets a developer to develop the property, then sets up a management company. The amenity in this case being the fitness center, the person that started this process from day one, it should be seamless regardless of who takes that seat on, right? Whether it's A management, B management, or C management, the same person who set up the amenity should just handle it all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we kind of laughed about the install, because we do a lot of our own installs. Well, during the install date, we're also registering the equipment same day.
Yep.
So whatever happens, the customer, if RMS were to close its doors tomorrow, our customers can be assured that their equipment's registered with the factory and can move on. And it would seem so minimal, but it is a critical step that it's overlooked because, and I'm going to say this in a very condescending way,
Let them know. Condescend on them.
okay? It's because their only intention is to sell you the equipment,
Bingo.
and that's it.
Install day for them is the finish line.
Right. And so whether you take your name and end it with ED or not, it doesn't mean that should be it. And that's why we're preaching that find a partner who's going to set it up and be there. The fitness center is never going to go anywhere. So why not have the same person install it so that you have records, you have someone to maintain it, so forth and so on. It's hard to verbalize the frustration I heard for 30 minutes on the phone. And we haven't done anything wrong, but I had to hear that because the vendor who set it up has no intention of following through on it.
And now they've ridden off into the sunset.
Right.
And, for them, they probably did their job, right? There's a lot of companies that don't bother with what happens after install day. It's just not part of their game. So for them, maybe that's not a big deal. But for us, it does matter. And I think that, if anything, the fact that we have, we're going to take a minute and pat ourselves on the back. The fact that we are creating a podcast with content specifically designed for assisting the site teams in particular indicates, or should indicate, that we care about the success of these assets after they're installed and the equipment after it's brought in, because there's value to it. People are investing in these things, and these spaces should be great and should be able to be maintained easily and at a high level. But for whatever reason, there's a couple of things that people just don't really, take the time to key in on at the install or after the install to make sure that happens. So the first one we talked about, go ahead, Emily, see your hand.
No, another key point to this factor was, so they went from wanting to purchase all new equipment to we just want to set up maintenance. Nothing is mentioned about equipment being down. Even if equipment is down, we can't supply unlimited parts for machines especially that we didn't sell.
Right.
So, there was an expectation that when they set up this what we call a one-time maintenance service. So it's like a one-time thing that's outside of a contracted, quote, to come out, do maintenance on the equipment. There's no mention that there's machines down. But the expectation for them, their thought of what maintenance meant is we're coming out here to fix everything. Oh. So that added to the fire of nothing was fixed when you guys were out here. Well, that's, again, having to educate the customer of what maintenance means and that there is a process to things. So to Robert's point, we didn't do anything wrong. We were just put in a really bad, sticky situation of coming out to try and assist a customer, and really they have just a bunch of equipment that needs repairs.
Yeah, and that's a shame. We along the way, at different points in times, we've had relationships like that where we've had maybe like a third-party relationship with a manufacturer or something, and some of them do a great job. But then if you do get involved with a manufacturer that maybe doesn't do a great job, you do find yourself doing a lot of unintended customer service and apologizing on behalf of things for mistakes that you weren't really responsible for. Right. And I think that's probably what you're describing. You empathize here with this client, obviously, because they are just trying to operate their facility and get what problems resolved for their tenants. And they probably were foisted into this situation. And now they're just frustrated at whoever's willing to talk to them. And, they're just expressing general frustration. They're probably not really upset at Emily or Robert, or maybe Emily, but in general, they're probably just feeling overall frustration because of the situation, and it could be avoided. And so obviously registering the warranty is a key thing, right? After any install, that's going to be like one of your most important things. That's going to make it so that any other issue that comes up, well, the first step is going to be identifying whether it's a warranty concern or not to know how to handle it. And if you can't do that because it wasn't registered, well, you're instantly encountering unanticipated downtime in that process. Robert?
There's a word that's used in the fitness industry, just in exercise world in general. They use the word evolve. So you look at the types of exercises that change as we go from year to year to year. What's new, what works best, how the industry continued to grow, not only from a technology and the type of equipment that's offered to the world of fitness, but that could be said of our industry. How do we evolve? Because Stephen and I could go back almost 20 years together, and admittedly, it's the same routine. I do feel for the independent service provider that's out there, because there are a lot of good companies out there who do the work that we do and don't sell equipment. They, and we go to them for outside of our workspace, and we turn to them. But throughout that entire process, there's a certain communication. There's a certain, you could say, accountability that we take on when we take on a client, that we want to see that process is followed all the way through. And again, it's, I can't explain why the industry doesn't change and hold the person selling the equipment more accountable. I'm not sure when that's going to change. We're trying to spearhead the change.
Careful now, Robert. You coming for the big dogs right now. You're talking about the big dogs.
I'm trying to change the way that is, because we said when we first took on this topic, how much can we really say about this topic?
23 minutes, 45 seconds later.
But it goes back to the core of things, is that you have large manufacturers selling equipment, but they have no service support in the field.
Yep.
So they're depending on the independent service provider to provide a level of service, and some can rise to the occasion. Others cannot. The demand is too high. And so you have a lot of clients falling short. And it's interesting when you scan LinkedIn, everyone wants to show you the new install day. I ask you, how about going back a year from now? What's the facility look like? Mm-hmm. Do you still take the same pride in that facility that you took on day one? That to me, that would say volumes about the company that you're partnering with. Like, why is it that we go into a facility and ask who sold you the equipment. When they say they don't know,
Yep.
that to me that's an embarrassment to the industry. You know, they should be able to quickly identify not why, but who they purchased the equipment from, not because they have some piece of paperwork, but because they've had some kind of conversation, email, something that keeps that relationship going the entire time they have the products.
Yeah. Man, like, you know what? We might have hit a nerve over here. I can see. I felt like I saw a vein percolating in Robert's forehead over there.
I think Bob just dropped his imaginary mic.
He did. No, but you know what? Like, this is real stuff. And, you know, when you do operate, to Robert's credit, a large service operation like you all have here at RMS Fitness on the service side for many, many years, I always jokingly say in Maryland, in the surrounding area, all roads lead to RMS Fitness, because at some point or another, it seems like everybody runs up into a point where they just exhaust the bandwidth of whoever it is that they're dealing with, and then they end up here with us, and we're trying to unpack all of these issues and things. So we see this often, and you know, sometimes it's normal, everyday reasons these things happen. You know, not everything is a grievous, you know, miscarriage of business or something, or you know, but like sometimes there are just things where when you look at it, you're like, okay, this just should have been done better, you know, and like I think that's what we're talking about really in reality, because, you know, staying on the subject of just the warranty for a second, Stephen, I know we've talked about this on prior episodes, but like your warranty is in place. What does that do for you for the first year? Perfect example. You guys mentioned it was about probably at least a year since this other facility had been looked at that we've been talking about. What happens to equipment within a year, and what isn't happening to it even if it's the warranty's active, if no one's looking at it, what's happening to it or not happening to it?
Well, I mean, essentially the warranty is useless.
Yeah.
Because you can have some down equipment within that time period, but or potentially a technician can see something happening that's not necessarily making the unit out of order, but can prevent it from happening, replacing parts under warranty. But if you don't have a tech out there, you're not going to have the eyes to see that and to address it properly. And so, you know, that's why when you have like most new equipment, the standard now is 1 year labor warranty. Now we're starting to see more 2 and 3 year labor warranties, and even some extensions of that. But if you don't take full advantage of it and have a regular tech out there, at least on a quarterly basis to look at it, well, it's like a waste of money.
Yeah.
Because what happens is fitness equipment is going to be used, abused, beat up, you know, and it's going to break down. It's not a matter of if, it's when. So that's why it's important to have at least a tech out there.
And we talked about this very subject not that long ago, and why a maintenance plan is so important, because of the warranty, and because a lot of times a user will go in and see something is down and they don't report it.
Yep.
They just leave it alone and they move on to the next machine,
Yeah,
or they just
if
don't
two
go
or three,
back.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's like 2 or 3 treadmills and one's not working, they may not even tell your site team. They may
Yeah.
just go to the one that's working and keep it moving, you know, and you might not even know. Like so that's just obviously, like, that's the most obvious issue with not having your warranty registered is, number one, you can't get the service done. 2, when you go to get it done, you're going to be encountering an immediate delay. And 3, even if you have the warranty registered, you need to know who to call to have them to come out and take a look at it so that you can know if anything needs to be addressed. So that brings me to the next point about, you know, this. So like, let's hypothetically, Stephen, you're the developer. Robert, you're the property management company. Emily sold you the equipment, Stephen. Not a trick question. Who should you probably take some time to introduce to each other before you exit the scenario?
Well, if I was the developer, I would introduce Emily to the new property management company, because they will potentially be dealing with each other. And
So Robert, meet Emily. Emily, meet Robert.
Hi, Emily.
Hi, Robert.
It can be as simple as that, like, right? Like, I kind of went through that silly exercise, but like, basically, like, Stephen, you made the point, right? Like, you should make that introduction, because those are the people that are going to be tasked with maintaining what's going on with that equipment the day after the install. And in most cases, they're also the people who are coordinating the installation, because the property management companies get involved toward the end as the property development is closing out, and they're involved in that process. But you'd be surprised that the formal introduction and establishment of, let's maybe get together and have a Zoom meeting for 10 minutes with the three of us and go over things, that really never happens. In almost all cases, I find myself having to initiate those relationships on my own after the fact. So I would again say, something that I think is, the ball probably gets fumbled a little bit at the goal line because people don't do what, Emily? Introduce who to who? She's pointing to Steven.
His
The
chair.
dealer and the property management
The dealer,
company.
the equipment dealer, and the property manager. Now, your equipment dealer may or may not do service, Robert, right? Emily, you can answer this. Your dealer, now if you're dealing with RMS Fitness, we do service. But not all dealers do service. But what should they be able to do for you on the service side? Either way. You should be able to either help you, right?
Right.
Or tell you what?
Who to contact.
Who to contact so that you get the help that you need.
Sorry, I got really distracted because Steven's chair is making a lot of noises, and I was telling him stop moving.
No, but you answered the question right. Like that, at the bare minimum, the dealer and the property management entity need to know who each other are,
Yes.
so that they can facilitate the service needs of the property. Hopefully, in person themselves, or at least if not, they can serve to coordinate that service so that you get what you need done. Robert, you're leaning in. Did you have something to throw in there?
I mean, I don't think it's that difficult.
It sounds like it shouldn't be, but let me tell you, bro, it's hard out here.
But I think, again, raising the bar, blowing the trumpet about accountability. Dealers who sell the equipment really need to step up, because to your point, if a dealer doesn't have service support, find a servicer. Partner with them. I have a client. This is what I need. I mean, we go back, there is nothing more frustrating than when a management company, out-of-state management company, has a multi-family housing development in this area. They have a vendor that may be a few miles from their location in such and such state. That vendor says, I'll sell you equipment. I'm okay with that. You want to sell the equipment, you have that relationship, I'm all for that. But you're accountable to find service for the property. Why are you hanging the properties out to dry? I don't understand it. And then
And it's a conversation you should be having before the equipment is installed,
Exactly.
not after.
But then let's think about it. I mean, when I go on to apartments.com, there's your plug, apartments.com. You go into apartments.com, I look at the ratings.
Sponsorships welcomed.
I look at the ratings on the apartments locations themselves. And that has a lot to do with amenities and how they're treated. And I know that imagine if you could tell a property manager, here's one amenity you never have to worry about. It's your fitness center. It's going to be taken care of. You're locked in. Here's who you contact. They'll take care of it. And to me, we're really, and I know you are all about this, but once we sell the product, we'd like to think that at the end of that product expiring, that we would be there for you again. Mm-hmm. And this cycle would continue for years to come. And if you open up another property, we've proved ourselves in this property, we'll continue. But again, going back to that, let's provide 100% of what the customer deserves. They bought a product, it's spending thousands of dollars. Mm-hmm. Give them something.
Yeah.
And then to you property managers out there, we want to take that problem area that it's a problem area. The moment you start to get those emails that something's not working and you're scrambling because there are bigger things for you and more important things for you to do in your job, we can make that simple. When I say we, anyone in our industry, we need to rise up to this level and provide this type of service.
Whew. Man, look, Robert has hit his mic drop limit on the day. We got no more mics to drop. We out of mics in here. They all been dropped and broken. But you're speaking truth, man. You know, this is something that is important, and you know, it's not just to our, you know, to the credit of other people in the industry. These conversations are being had in other places as well. Whenever you hear specifically service entities having conversations, a lot of times it centers around this subject, the difficulty of achieving good service and all the hurdles that can be set up before you in being able to do that could be easily avoided with a little bit of additional effort on behalf of, you know, dealer entities in particular. But, you know, there's a lot of them out there. So, you know, it's just like in anything else. There's not everyone's created equal in every space. You know, some people are very good about all the small details, and some people just, you know, they're not great. But that's in any industry. So, you know, what we're really talking about is not so much what the dealers should do, because we all know what should happen. We're talking about what the site teams can do to make sure that these things happen. So, you know, this is a question to ask. Make sure before your dealer exits the equation that they've registered your warranty. That would be a good question to ask. Another thing to ask would be, hey, when the installer is leaving or the dealer is leaving the property, okay, who should I contact for service? These are like questions that you want to be, you know, asking, because even if it's not us, if it's not RMS Fitness, it's another company, they might not reach out to you, and we're going to reach out to you, but you know, not everyone's going to do that. So be proactive and try to set yourselves up for some success there too. Stephen, we've had a lot of experience recently with some equipment that requires like memberships and subscriptions and things. What's another piece of information that a site team should keep on hand after an install if they have equipment with memberships or warranties, or memberships or subscriptions?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think one of the biggest information things to have on hand for the property is a lot of times when you have this interactive fitness, like Echelon Fitness type of subscription content, is you get the property gets a commercial subscription key, and it's like a 6 or 7 digit code. Well, that code is necessary, and you need to have that code handy, because sometimes these units can go through an update, and then you need to.
Yeah, depending on the level of the update.
Yeah, exactly.
Not everyone, but
not all of them. But you know, sometimes if something happens where the tablet needs to be replaced, well, the techs will need that commercial subscription handy. And yes, you can probably call the manufacturer and get that, but that's more time delay.
And if you're not dealing with the dealer,
Yeah.
you're dealing with another service provider, you might be paying for time on site.
Exactly. Yeah.
You want to be paying for them to be sitting on the phone calling Echelon or Peloton or anybody else and verifying, you know,
Mm-hmm.
credentials.
Yeah, so that's all that information is kind of key and critical. And so, you know, if property's purchased through us, we like to try to have everything seamless, give them all the information that they need. And hopefully they keep it on file at the property, because sometimes those things can get lost. But you know, if the property sees RMS stickers and they call us, we no doubt will have all that information for them.
Yeah, you beat me to my next punch. So I was going to say, if you walk into your gym and you're not sure who to call, I was going to say a good rule of thumb: most dealers, installers have some sort of sticker implementation that they're putting on their equipment, so that you know you can identify who it was that sold you the equipment. Not everyone does that, but most of the legit ones do it. So, you know, if you're a new person arriving on the site and you're just trying to get a handle on things and you have no way to know where to start, check and see if there's a sticker on there that says RMS Fitness and call us if it does. Or if it says anybody else, just call us anyway, because they're no good. And, you know.
Mic drop.
No, we're out of mics, Emily. I already said that. No, I'm just
No, Bob is.
No, I was a little tongue in cheek. There are plenty of other reputable operations out there. I just don't know who any of them are. No, but really, you know, I think that's just one of the things that we really wanted to talk about today was, you know, behind any good installation, this is probably primarily like a new development type of scenario where you're going to have this issue. In most cases, you know, if you're dealing with us for service already and you ask to replace a couple pieces of equipment through us, it's going to be so seamless. You're not even going to know the warranties did or didn't happen. It's just all going to be taken care of and in motion. But what we're really talking about is these large scale projects where there's several involved parties, and at some point or another, a property management company comes in and gets involved, and they are either set up for success or thrown to the wolves, depending on, a few simple steps that can be taken, which can really just be simple as introductions to the parties that assisted you with the sale of the equipment. Now, hopefully you're dealing with a company who's wants to keep talking to you after the fact, which isn't always the case, but most reputable dealers are going to want to continue to support you down the line. But really, that's some simple stuff there, right? Get your warranties in place. Know who you bought the equipment from. If you do have subscriptions and membership information, keep that on file and keep that on hand, because, again, sometimes it's an update through the software. Sometimes if the building loses power for like an extended period of time for any reason, when they fire back up, those units may need to be reactivated after a certain amount of time with no power. These are all things that, like, if you don't have that information on hand, you're encountering downtime, your residents can't use their stuff, and it's really not great. One last thing I thought about was also knowing about what type of subscriptions that you purchased and durations of it. Because Emily, I'm going to ask Emily because she's on her phone. Emily, if you don't know what type of subscription duration that was purchased, and you're just the manager of a property, right? And all of a sudden you hear that the equipment's not working, what are you going to do?
You're going to call RMS Fitness.
Or you're going to call whoever your service provider is. Hopefully it's RMS Fitness, but you're going to call your service provider thinking that your bike is broken. But in many cases, what happens is people are just sold 1-year memberships out of the gate. Nobody even really tells them that there is a membership associated with that equipment. They just sell it to them. At the day of install, it's working, it's fired up, it's lighting up, and the classes are doing its thing, and nobody asks a whole lot of questions. Well, then a year later, it's not working anymore, and nobody even really knows, right? So, like, again, you would want to know, who do you contact about these subscriptions?
RMS Fitness.
RMS Fitness. So, okay, the cheat code
Because all
here.
roads go back to
When in
RMS
doubt.
Fitness.
The cheat code,
RMS.
guys, is called RMS Fitness. If you really
We'll
want to get
figure
something
it out.
done.
We'll get you hooked up.
Unless you want to, like, not hear someone hock a lung into the mic, then don't call RMS Fitness. My man Steven.
It's all the customers I've been talking
my
to,
man
man.
Steven
Just
walking Nimona Dio over there.
top-notch customer service.
Top-notch mesothelioma. No, I don't even know what that is. Is that a lung thing?
It is.
Okay, good. I'm not good.
From asbestos.
From asbestos, because no one's as best as us.
That's right. It all goes back to RMS
That's
Fitness.
a great one.
No, but you know what? It must be time to go because it's getting warm in here, guys. It means we've been talking a lot.
It means you're having fun, Steve.
Yeah, no, we're coming up on 43 minutes, which means it's about time to go home and enjoy the weekend. So I think that about sums up really the gist of what we wanted to talk about. When you purchase the new equipment and you pass that asset off, take some additional steps to make sure that you do that in a way that sets that team up for success. Introduce them to the right people. File the paperwork accordingly. Send them the necessary purchase information so that they know what they've got. Make sure that the warranties are in place. I can't remember if I said that or not. And just educate that team. And if nothing else, just make sure they know 1-800-RMS Fitness. That's not our phone number. But if it was, that's who they would call. But just make sure they know how to get a hold of us so that we can help them out in that case. And just make sure that when you have a new install, you don't have disappointment coming behind it because you didn't address a couple simple things along the way. Because everybody just wants a good, positive outcome behind any big project or undertaking like that. So, any other thoughts, comments, feelings, or considerations on this subject, ladies and gentlemen?
Call RMS Fitness.
Call RMS Fitness.
Well done, Steve.
Thank you, Robert.
Very good.
Enjoy the weekend.
Easy on that mic next time, man. Okay, these are expensive.
I know that thing is like burning hot
Can't
right
keep
now.
dropping them. Steven, what you doing this weekend, man?
Saturday, just some odd and end stuff, but Sunday I should have a little golf outing.
Ooh,
Yeah.
golf outing.
Got to break the rust off of the clubs.
All right, well, listen, you got to work on Monday, man, so just take it easy out there.
Got to watch the swing.
Emily, Indian food inbound?
Yeah, I think so.
Really?
Yeah, actually.
That was just like a random. I heard you mention to your mom something about somebody in your family liking Indian food.
Yeah, so the boys, we love this dive of a place by where we live. And we always, if I get takeout, that's the only place I'm getting takeout.
I was gonna say, don't say their name now that you called them
I'm
a
not,
dive.
but if you drove by, you'll know what I mean. But yeah, so my nephews from Pennsylvania that don't have that many awesome Indian places. What's really popular where they are is actually Persian, like Syrian.
Oh,
So when I go up there, we do Persian. When they come down here, we do Indian or crabs, of course. So I think tonight might be Indian night.
oh, okay. So no Indian crab feast. No Indian crab feast. You have to pick one or the other.
Yeah,
you can't
right.
do both.
Not
Can't do no crab meat vindaloo.
No.
Robert, how about you, buddy? Let me guess. Painting, drywall, spackle patching, random new
All of
odds
the
and
above.
ends. There you go.
All
Look,
the above.
Hey, let me steal your thunder, man. How's your weekend? How's it going to be?
Exactly. You just said it. Just housework, and then I may get a chance to get out and do something fun on Sunday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to I don't have any plans this weekend. I've had a couple of really busy weeks. I said to my wife, I was like, I don't know what we're going to do, but I want to do something like, I just want to get outside a little bit this weekend. I want to feel some air on my skin. I want to
Weather
feel
looks good.
Yeah, I just want to we're going to be that time of year. I've been inside a lot. I just want to go outside. Some things around the house I want to do. I'm going to chop some wood, get some things ready. It's going to be that time of year. I got to start prepping for next winter
Excuse me. Why is he chopping wood in the middle of
I
spring?
know. What?
because you chop the wood now so that it splits and it's
I
already,
thought it would be drier in
it's
the
already
midsummer.
it's already dry enough now, but I want to split it now and let it really just be split and just dry up under the
The more drier it is, the easier it is to chop.
right. But I'm afraid that the whole log won't dry out as well as the split log. I'm trying to really let it. I don't want how when you chop a log, the core
makes
will stay.
no
Look,
sense.
I'm gonna.
All right, listen. Everyone needs a lumberjack is ending right now because I don't know what I'm talking about. I just moved to the country. I just want to chop some wood before it gets hot.
Look,
and Robert's coming for
Steve-
my life.
Steve grew out a beard, and all of a sudden he thinks he's Jeremiah Johnson.
I do have a beard, and it is an excellent one. It's not as good as Adam Niffen, the guy that hosted me on the Fix Your Gym podcast. Shout out Adam. He stole my beard ambition that I'm looking to achieve. He's got a really serious podcast host beard. So one day, I too will be like him. But for now, I'm happy with the beard I have. Everybody else, anything else to say going into the weekend? Robert, housework, Decker?
Enjoy. As you said earlier, please get out there and get some vitamin D.
Emily, Indian food vinos.
Yep, gonna try and get out and do a day trip somewhere, some sort tomorrow. I don't know.
Beautiful.
Oh my.
Steven, odds and ends of Dio.
Golfadio.
Well, that was you said odds and ends Saturday. Then golf. We'll see. We'll see if you earn the title of Golfadio.
We'll see. Hope to shoot under par. We'll see.
Everyone needs a caddy. No, but listen, everybody, that's basically it for us. We hope that everyone has a good weekend. If you have found this podcast episode to be educational, informative, and or entertaining, we simply ask that you would give us a 5-star review and nothing less, and share this with at least one coworker that you think could benefit from this information. We put a lot of effort and heart and soul into these productions, and we hope that you all enjoy them as much as we enjoy creating them. I am Steve Heitzer. This has been Everyone Needs... what is this? Everyone needs a spotter. I hope that you have a great weekend. See you later.